All right, hopefully y'all can see me. As you can tell, it's a little dark out. Finally getting a little bit of time to come out to the shop. A few projects I need to do. But today, I want to show you all some of the tools I use to cut circles into steel. Sometimes you really need a perfect circle for things. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can just kind of wing it. But when I can, I try to cut as true a circle as I can. So let me show you those tools. All right, so first up, just a regular drill. I think everyone probably has one of these. I use this quite a bit, mainly up to 1/2 inch holes. They're just quick and easy to grab. But if I have something that I need to do a lot of holes in and I don't really feel like pushing on the drill, then I have a mag drill that I use. And these things use a different kind of bit. You can put a regular style drill bit in them, but these to me work a lot better. They're more of like what I would call a cookie cutter. And I'll bring you in close so you guys can see what I'm talking about on this style of bit, but they do a real good job making precision holes one after another. So those are kind of my main two electric styles of ways that I put holes in things, but I'm really wanting to show you the different torch setups that I've got. And I will leave links to what I can, to like the mag drill and some of the other stuff that I use down in the description. There's some lube, cutting lube that I use for taps, drilling, different things like that I really like using. Hands down, it's the best stuff I've found so far. But I'll leave links to that stuff down in the pinned comment down in the description as well. Same with this mag drill. Most mag drills are real expensive. This is a Chinese one. I've had pretty good luck with it. I don't know, a couple dozen holes with this drill itself, mainly on my welding trailer whenever I was putting it together. Things I wanted to do overhead that I didn't want to sit there and hold a drill up. But things worked out pretty good for me, and it was a pretty decent value. If I can figure out which one that one was, I'll leave it down there as well, or one similar to it. All right, when I'm using a torch, when you're out on a farm, there's a lot of times that you're dealing with rusty steel, or if you're out at the corral dealing with pipe or building pipe fence or anything like that, a lot of times it's extremely handy to have a cutting torch on hand. Sometimes you got to make a pretty big hole, and that's things the drills just really can't do. So you have to have a cutting torch on hand. Now, a lot of things, if it isn't real crucial, you can wing it and just freehand it. But a lot of times, like on pipe fence, I like to cut consistent holes, because when I do pipe fence, it's a little different. On the verticals, instead of saddling all the pipes, I'll blow holes in the verticals, and the horizontal pipes I'll cut a little bit longer, slide them in each of those holes, weld it up, and it's quick and easy. But let me show you a few of the attachments that I use on my cutting torches. If I'm doing a lot of pipe, I like using a straight vertical style. So I can stick that right up on the pipe and just twist it right around and cut the hole that I need to cut in it. You almost always have to center punch the steel, just so these have a place to stay, and you can just sit that in there and spin that dude right around. This one I picked up, it was a feller here in Oklahoma, and I don't remember, he was getting them somewhere, I thought locally, that a guy made them. I'll bring in close so you can see it here in a second, but it's basically two pieces of brass that are drilled out to fit these tubes here, and then a piece of cold roll that's bent and sharpened to a point, and you tighten that thing on there, loosen this up, and you can adjust this out or in depending on how big of a hole you're needing to do. You'll basically figure out the hole that you're needing to do and then divide that in half, and that's where you'll set the center of this cutting tip to the center pin on here, and that'll give you the size hole that you want. But a lot of times this one is my go-to because it is smaller, and I don't know, it's easier to run. Quick and easy to change out, just like most Victor torches. If I want to put a 90-degree head back on it, pop this off. I pretty much continuously leave the circle burner attachment on the straight one, just because I'm not going to use that head for anything besides cutting circles. And all this is brass, but I always seem like I have to put a pair of pliers on this here to snug it down enough to be able to keep it from moving. You just loosen that up a little bit, and you can set your height, how far away you want to be from the steel, because on pipe it's not flat, obviously, so you're going to be closer on part of it and further away on the other, and you just got to find the happy spot on it. But you can move this out. You can make bigger of these, and they sell bigger ones too that have like a 4 or 6 inch offset on them, so you can really get some big holes on these verticals. But they're quick and easy. You can adjust it, however you want to do. But if I can find the link to where I got this, I got that years ago, I'll share it with you all. And same with this vertical tip. But I will warn you, these vertical tips are very expensive. I don't remember exactly what I give for it, but I remember when I got it, I thought, I really hope I like that thing, because it was pricey. And these little pliers I'm using, I've had people ask me about these before. I keep these in my pocket. These are a Nipex brand. I think they're a 4 inch or so. I'll leave links to these as well. These things are extremely handy. If you've never owned or used a pair of Nipex pliers, you're missing out, because they are incredible pliers. But you can get it pretty good size open. I think you can get up to 3/4 inch nut, and down to nothing, but real handy to have. Now, since I am limited on the size of circles that I can use on this one, I can put the offset one on there, but you're still limited to only so big of a circle with one of these. That offset I was talking about, that's it. So if I wanted to make a bigger circle, that's the offset. I have never used this one. This one's never even been installed, because I haven't needed to cut a circle that big. But that's it. Loosen that up. That'll slide in there, and you can make a different size circle. If I need to cut something real big, like when I was building my tire hammer, I had to cut out a piece of steel, probably about that big, to put up on the wheel for the tire hammer to weld it to the rim. Then I'll use a regular style torch, but circle cutters for these are also expensive, so I made a homemade one. I'm gonna show you guys it. I'll show you some up close, but it works great for this style of torch. So this is something I made years ago. It's a piece of cold roll. I tapped each end, and I took 2 different size nuts. The smaller size is for the smaller headed torches, and the bigger is for the bigger size. But just a piece of all thread, tapped. These nuts, I did drill the threads out of them on both of them. This one, I'll show you, for the smaller headed torches, that'll just fit right up in there. That's its resting point. The bigger one, it doesn't fit down in all the way like that, but it holds it just high enough off the steel where it's in a good spot. All right, the smaller side, it's gonna be for a 1/2 inch bolt, but again, center's drilled out, so it's gonna be a 3/4 or 19 millimeters, the outside diameter of what the nut is. And this side, for the big torch, that's a 15/16 for that. So, not too bad. It's kind of crude. The size I tapped this, I put a nut on each end, just kind of welded the nuts to those. Took a piece of brass, drilled it out, tapped it. If you got a nut here to adjust this anchor point, and a nut here to adjust your diameter, how big you're wanting to cut. But quick and easy. That's also another little piece of cold roll. Heat it up with a torch, ground it with a grinder, and yeah, works out real good. I'll show you this up close. I'll kind of just show a little demonstration of how you use this with a torch. And the big torch, I believe they call these journeymans. That tip fits right up there, right at that taper, and that holds it. The way I've got this built, that holds it just pretty well the perfect spot above the steel for cutting. But I'll bring you in, I'll show you kind of how this works if you don't understand yet, and once you see it, it'll click if it's not already. Okay, so again, you'd probably have something center punched in your steel that's going to fit in there, and you're going to hold that, and your torch is going to rest up in here. And this hand I keep on this just to kind of keep it balanced. You can hold it, get it closer, pull it away, but you're just going to go around your steel and cut out a perfect circle. Whatever size you need, you just need to move this in half the distance of what the circle is. Same with the little one. Let me grab the regular head for this. Okay, here's the regular head. These Victor torches, in my opinion, they are the absolute best ones, hands down, that you can get. They can all be serviced. They're quick and easy to change things out on. If you want to put a brazen tip on this. I normally just leave the smaller one in this configuration and the larger one in that configuration, because I got quick connects on both of them, so I can swap them out back and forth pretty easy. So that's a configuration of the small one. Make sure I got some room. And then your small side, same deal. You'd have your center punch mark, and then just go right around your steel to however big you want to go, and you can cut a perfect circle out with these things. But quick and easy. That one's crude, but it works. Okay, so again, small stuff, small jobs, and pipe for the most part. You can't beat that one for the size and what it'll do. That thing works great. Larger stuff, obviously the Journeyman and the big circle cutter. And these things, again, I mean, this was homemade, so depending on what size of circle you need, I could have took a piece of 4-foot all thread, but there's zero reason I need to cut any circles out that big. But you can make something like this and adapt it for whatever you need. But everyone, I want to show you these because I've got another project. I need to cut a circle out here in just a minute. So I wanted to go ahead and make a video to show you this kind of stuff, so I didn't have to make the other video even longer explaining what some of this stuff is. I'm sure most of you know, but those of you that don't, maybe this will give you some ideas if you're needing to cut some circles out or anything like that, because at some point in time you're going to need to for something. And if you're on a farm or you're in a shop, you do any metal fab, more than likely you're going to have a torch, or you need to have a torch because they are invaluable with things you can do with them. Because cutting torches aren't just for cutting metal. I've used them more than once, heating up bearings, getting bearings off shafts, or even installing bearings, but you got to be careful on that because you don't want to blue it and take the temper out of the steel. But you can use it as a heating element, swell up the metal and put it down on a shaft if you need to. But very versatile. If you've got nuts, stuff like that won't come off, something that's seized up, your blue liquid wrench here is going to take care of whatever you need to. But everyone, thanks for watching. I'm glad I could show you kind of my process on how I do some of this stuff. Hopefully you learned something. But I appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.